Okay, so let me label. It opens a table that looks like this. So when I come here, I can just click on labels right here, and then I can label this layer. And then when I label that layer, I can select. If you open the attributes table, you realized there are several columns from the attributes table, and these are the columns you will find in that attributes table. So every column has some labels. So if I want to label by name, I'll just click name. I can adjust font and the font size and the color and such things. I can just adjust them from these. This is like in any word editing software like Word, or you are using what is it called, WPS Office. You can, it has this kind of editing dialog box. So you will have these functions there. So they are very similar. You can just work with them, but you can adjust the font if you want. So now once I'm done, I can apply and see the changes before I click OK. You can see it has labeled those banks. You can see there's a HSBC bank here. You can see Barclays somewhere. You can see all these banks here in this layer. So they have been labeled. And when let me just click OK. So if you open the attributes table, you realized we labeled the name column. We can label the amenity, but the labels will be the same for each and every point. So everything will be labeled bank. So everything will be labeled bank, bank, bank. If I label by OSM type, everything will be node. If I label by full ID, then we will draw these random numbers here. So I chose name because name is kind of different for every point. So you can label by any attribute here. You can even label by brand if you want, though you can see the data here is not very complete, so it will not label everything. Okay, so that is the first part of styling. You can style by adding labels, and you see you can play around with color. Though S3 will provide some standard color for each and every attribute. So like for a road, you realize it will label, it will provide, like if I open this box here, we covered this part in the last class. So if I double click, you realize S3 will suggest, if it is a circle, it will suggest some standard some recognized symbols which you can use. If it was a road, it would suggest some. If it was a polygon, polyline, I mean, it would suggest some things related to highway, road, boundaries, and so on and so forth. So you realize you can label with star, but you can assume all this and just pick a color from here and adjust the size and the angle, and then you just hit OK. But I would recommend you use this that has been recommended by S3 for labeling points. So if you want to style it, I can maybe style it by adding this circle 3. If I use circle 3 and I give it some color, maybe red. Is this red? This looks like orange. I don't know. Maybe it's okay. So that is red. By the way, that is red. It doesn't matter what you are seeing. I'm seeing red. So if I hit OK, you see it has styled, it has added some style to the data. It has labeled those icons as red, and there's a dot in the icon in the middle there. So that is styling of points. So I can also style this polygon here, and mostly we don't, if it is layers, you realize if I bring this layer here, let me just do that. If I bring this layer here first, you realize some points will be obstructed in my map because these are layer. One is coming on top of the other. So if this one comes first, it will obstruct some things here. So for you to be able to see what is obstructed, it is important to remove this background color here by just coming to color, and then you can click none. If you don't want color, you just come and select no color. And then you hit OK, and then the color will disappear. Or you can just come here and select the option hollow, and then it will create something that is hollow. Okay, so that is a bit of playing around with your layers. If you realize one layer is obstructing the other, just know it's the way the layers are arranged here. So you can make this hollow, or you can adjust the color to none so that you don't hide other layers. So again, you can also play around with the wind here, the outline. So if I add maybe an outline of 2, you can see now it is giving it some thickness, and then I can make it 3. It looks better, and then I can click OK. You can see now it is a little bit bold. So you can style up the polygons that way. Let me try and add some data on a line. Let me pick a river, for example. I hope this river, yeah. So that is a line. So let us see how I can style this river. So let me just come here and click. You can see now, because it is a polyline, S3 will throw some suggestions here. If it is a highway, it is recommended you use these. If it is an expressway, it is recommended you use these. Somehow they have, these are an app that is a commercial. This is not an open source app. So they have tried to simplify things out so that they can market better. So if you come to boundaries, you can see the way they suggest boundaries. This is not boundaries. So do you have boundaries here? They should suggest boundaries as well, because, yeah, boundary. You can see boundaries have also been suggested here. You can come and pick a boundary for a national, for a nation, or for a state. They recommend for a county, for a city, for a military installation. That is what it is called here. So boundary for neighborhood. Yeah, they just give you this data just to make you access this data faster, instead of coming here to style it yourself. Like if I wanted a road, a highway, I can come and give it a color like red here. But when I pick this one, you realize it will change the color here. This is not even red. So it will change the color here. And then the wind, it will also recommend some wind. But you can style your data the way you want. Maybe you don't want a very big map. You may want a smaller map that maybe the roads you may want to indicate using this symbol of a highway because the map is small. Maybe because there may be other roads that are smaller. So it depends on how you are working with your data. Okay, so that is now how I can style using labels. That is how I can style by adjusting these points right here, and the polygons and the lines. So I have not really adjusted my line. Let me try a river like that one. You can see by default, this one was, they used the default one, but if I change the wind, for example, to 2, it will be a little thicker. Yeah, you see now it is a little thicker now. So that line, that river is now styled up. So this is now what I was calling styling up. So that is what I was calling styling up and adding labels to metadata. So I have shown you how you can do some, if you realize data is overlapping, how you can bring this one here, and so on and so forth, so that you don't hide other layers. Okay, so yeah, that is now styling up. So let us go to the geoprocessing tasks now. I told you guys they are 5, the geoprocessing tasks. We have one called clipping, another one called intersecting, another one called union, another one called dissolve, and another one called buffer. We will follow the same order. So we will start with clipping. So what is to clip? Let me undo these labels so that they stop. Let me just undo this label so that you can visualize this data better. So to clip is to remove something out of like I can have this river here. I can see this part of a river is coming inside some boundary. I can remove that part which is not in this boundary. That is clipping. So okay, let me wait for this one to respond. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. You did not crash. You have done me a very great favor. So let me undo the labeling, and then I can just hit OK. And then also this color looks funny. So let me just use which one? That one. Then size, I can make it a little smaller. 15 will do better. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, if I don't want them, I can just stick them away. So let me explain clipping. So we will clip this river here, and we will remove these parts that are not in the boundary in our region of interest. We will remove them. I told you guys I'm having a little bit unstable network. If it disconnects, just come and join again using the same link. So if you realize it disconnected, just join again, okay? So that region of interest is here. And everything that, every line that will be here is what we want. So I can do that by just clipping. So if I want to clip, I will use a tool called clip. I can come to the ARC toolbox and search it, but I showed you guys a way of searching using the search panel. That is why it is here, by the way. I can just search clip and then hit enter. Then it will show me these 1 million options here. So we'll just pick the one with analysis here and just click it once. If you don't remember how we were doing it, you can view the other video. It will help, and it will help you understand why we picked that one. So when this tool appears here, you realize it has input feature, clip feature, and then output feature class. So input feature is the feature that I want to clip, which is my river here. So I'll just come here and I can just drag this river and drop it here. Okay, so drag and drop. If drag and drop is giving you trouble, you can just come and open from this drop down here. It will open what is in the layers here. So river has been added. So if you open from here, you can see it is opening what we have in my layers. So like in the second option, clip features, that is the region from which I want to specify my boundary of clipping. So in this case, it is the region of interest, this one. So I'll just come and select region of interest, I just drag it and drop it from there. And then this output class, I don't want to mess with the original data. So what I will do, I will just name this data using a different name so that I don't lose it. So I will just come to that folder that I connected. It was stream, yeah, that one. So I will just come here and give it a name. Let me call it river, then underscore clip. So I want to label it as a different layer. I don't want it to overwrite the river here. That is why I used that output feature class. So I used the underscore, not really with any specific reason, just for the purpose of making my naming neat. So there's no reason why I used that underscore. You can assume it. So I can now hit OK. Once I'm done filling this, I can just hit OK, and clipping process will begin. You can see there's a globe here that is spinning. It is telling me that is a task that is running in my ArcMap. And once it is done, it will throw some result. It will indicate clipping here on this corner, and then somewhere here it will add a layer, and that layer will be called river clip, the way we just named it. So let us give it time. It is loading. Okay, so that is now clipping. It is very easy, by the way. It's not much. It is not much of our work. And again, remember to arrange these layers that way. So it looks like we are almost done here. So yeah, there we go, clip. it tells me, it gives me this hammer and it says clip, meaning that that layer has been added here, river clip. And if I deselect other layers, the river, if I deselect the river, you realize there's a part of a river that has been removed. And then we have a new clip. And you realize that once I have a geoprocessing task, I do a geoprocessing task, it will come with its own styling. It will not retain the color like of the river here. The river was if I tick it, let me just tick it. The river was that blue, but you realize the clipped river here has come with some different color. So if you clip something, if you use a geoprocessing task, you have to do styling again. Style it back to blue by just coming and selecting here. That is very simple. I can just give it back. It's blue back. So that is why I had to cover the part of styling first before we came to this part of geoprocessing tasks. So now that part has been clipped. And if I remove the region of interest, you realize that that river was shortened only at that boundary. So the boundary is not, it did not create a layer for the boundary, that is. It just created a layer for the clip, the river clip. So the boundary, if I untick it, you realize it disappears. It does not leave a new boundary here. So that is that. So let me add my region of interest back. Let me untick my river. So that is clipping. We have done clipping. So I will send you this data and you will try and clip yourself as part of the assignment, because I know you guys want to be involved using assignments and so on. So I will send you this data, try and clip these. You will have data with the same names. You will understand better, okay? You will understand better because I will send the exact data I'm using here, so you will follow better even on your own. So the next tool is called Intersect. Yeah, we did a unit that was having a lot of this are they called set what? Notations or what? So there is union, intersection, and so on. We did some object-oriented programming on Python, and I realized there was also intersection there, union there. So this union and intersection keep following me everywhere I go. So intersect is very similar to what maybe you can understand it as. So let me just add a new layer here, and this is region of interest 2. So I will add region of interest 2 there. So this region of interest 2 looks like that. So what we will do in this intersect, you realize this layer here has come on top of another layer. If I drag this one to come first, you realize this one is overshooting to the region of interest 2. So from the intersect definition, you can tell that this region here that lies in both region of interest 1 and region of interest 2 is the area that we will intersect. So we will kind of do clipping, but this clipping will clip the intersected part. So that is now the intersect tool. So you can use intersect tool by just coming again and searching it. I remember we used the example of intersect tool when I was teaching you how to query, how to search. So intersect, and then enter. So I will pick this one again. I will not explain because we did that. So, okay, so in now, this one is different from clipping. I will just need to drag and drop the two features that are intersecting. In this case, it is region of interest 1. I just drop it there, and then region of interest 2, I just drop it there. And then I hit, okay, before I hit okay, I need to give them, I don't want this data to be spoiled. So I come and I name it, maybe clip underscore region of interest. Let me just give it that name. It doesn't, it is just an abbreviation anyway. So, and then I can say, okay. So what it will do, it will kind of add a new layer here called clip, the way we just named it, ROI. And then you can see intersect here has ticked, meaning that has been done. So if I untick everything else, you realize there's a region. That region here has been kind of clipped, and you can see now this one is coming again with its own styling. So I can change the styling if I want this region of interest to have some styling. So I can just do some styling to it. So that is the second geoprocessing task that we have covered. So we have another one, and this one is called union. Again, it is very similar. Let me just tick region of interest 1, region of interest 2, and then let me just untick the clip for now. So this one is very similar again to what you interpret union as. There's a bit of difference, kidogo too, very small, which I will tell you in a few minutes. So I'm having a little bit of unstable network. So if it disconnects, just join, okay? So if it disconnects, just join. It is my network interface card that has a problem. Yesterday it was worse, today it looks better. So I will change my card because I don't want to keep messing my videos. So that is the problem with these online classes now. But we will work anyway. So I want to do union. So union will kind of highlight this region of interest 2 together with region of interest 1. So it will, if it had this color would extend from here all the way here, because it will unite the two, and it will unite the two. But there's a bit of difference between this union and maybe the union you know about. Just a little difference. Okay, so again, we will do the same. I will just come here and type union, and then it will give me the union to union, and then I hit enter, and then without any explanation, I'll just tick this one, okay? So it is similar to intersect. I will just drag the regions of interest, the regions that I want to unite, and drop them there. I can again name this one. I can name this one what? It will clip, okay, it will conflict with the first one. So let me give it ROI, this time in caps. ROI. I hope it will recognize that as a difference. Let me see. It refused. Imekataa. You can see there's an arrow there. It says no. So let me call it something else. So let me call it clip, and then intersect. I'm a union. Yeah, this is union. Let me call it union. Okay, so yeah, imekubali sasa. There's no danger red here. So I can just go ahead and intersect the two and wait for my union. Sorry, you can see union is running down here, and it is done. So it has created that union. And if I untick this one, I untick this one, you can see the union, the way it looks. It creates 3 layers. The first one, where the region of interest is alone. The second one, where the region of interest is what? The region of interest is alone, and then the intersection. So if I open the attributes table, you realize it will have three polygons here. But if you were to do a union, it should have only one polygon. They should not be 3. So that is the kind of a difference we have between this union and maybe the one you know. But I will show you how you can change that one, those 3 layers into one, using now the third geoprocessing task. Let me wait for you to respond. You better not crash, because if you do, you will mess my video. Yes, I already have enough problems. Okay, yeah, it did not crash. So let me do let me just undo. I did not open what I wanted to open. I wanted to open the attributes table and then deselect this part here by just coming here and clear the selection. And then, yeah, and then let me change this back to a river with one unit here. So now the tool dissolve will, you realize that data was in segments. So the tool dissolve will dissolve the segments and compress them back to maybe 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how you will choose in your default setting as you configure your settings. So in this case, I would want to dissolve this clip union I did here. So let me undo the river. So this thing I did here, I want to dissolve. I want this union to be uniform, not really 3 polygons. So let me dissolve this clip union. So when I come to here to this and search dissolve tool, dissolve, then I hit enter. So I will pick the dissolve tool here. Again, I will not explain anything. I'll just pick it and not explain anything. But if you followed the other tutorial, perhaps you know how we were tracking these by just coming here and you can see the, sorry, that did not open what I wanted to open. Actually, I picked the wrong one. So there's this one here. I want the one that will open a tool. Yeah, this tool here called dissolve. Yeah, so my internet is still unstable. Okay, so I will just select this dissolve. It will bring me this kind of a box here. And this is the box that I will fill in the input feature, the feature class, and the field I want to dissolve. So the input feature I want to dissolve is this clip union. So I can just drag and drop it here. I just select it from the drop down. So once I drop it, you realize now the dissolve field has been populated with some data here. I can dissolve it by FID, FID region, ID, area, and so on and so forth. So when I come to, okay, let me minimize this for now. So when I come to clip union and open my attributes table, you realize they are the same things that are in my columns here. Shape, FD region, ID, area, FID region 1, and then ID. So I want to make them one. So I can just make them one by using the attribute that has common data. Like this one here, area has 0, 0, 0, everything. So if there's no field attribute without with common data, you can add an attribute table and then add your own garbage data there that will help you just to dissolve, just for the purpose of dissolving, but we will come there. For now, I'll just pick the area because area has, for the first polygon, it is 0. For the second polygon, it is 0. For the third polygon, it is also 0. So I'll just pick this one. I will dissolve it by area so that it can become one. So let me come and open the dissolve tool, which I minimized, and I will dissolve them by area. So I will take area there. And then here, I will select this one and I will name this one dissolve. Dissolve underscore what? I don't know. So maybe underscore, let me just call it dissolve because I don't have another dissolved layer yet. So let me call it dissolve and then I make sure area is ticked and then I say, okay. So let us wait for the layer to add, and the layer has added. Here you can see dissolve has come, and you can see dissolve has added to the layer again with its own styling and it will have, in fact, it will also have its own attributes table. And then you can see now the attributes table does not have the 3 polygons. It has just 1 polygon. That is what I wanted. So the union now has become a very smart looking union. It does not have the 3 layers, the 3 polygons. This union looks more smart. But I don't want to call it, I would have called it dissolve, but I don't want to rename it now. So I will retain that name for now. So that is how we dissolve things. So I hope you understand dissolve better. I can try and dissolve to explain what I was explaining later. I can try and before I can try and dissolve some other data. So let me just untick dissolve, and then maybe tick the rivers and the region of interest one, and I will do away with the clip union for now. So let me work with these two. So dissolve, I want to dissolve this river here, right here. So you realize when you are dissolving, you just need to add 1 layer. It is not like when you are doing some intersect or union where you add 2 layers, or maybe when you are doing clipping where you add 2 layers as well. So here when we are dissolving, you just need to add 1 layer. So I will just come here. I wish ArGIS had commands where I just type dissolve and it will activate the command. But this one I have to come here and search. Okay, so I will just search, no problem. So dissolve, in fact, dissolve was typed. Dissolve, then I can hit enter. And then this dissolve tool right here. Then if you open it from catalog, you will see it here. So let me click it to open it. So this dissolve here will just take 1 input. So, and that is, I want to dissolve my river. Because you realized the river, let me minimize, you realized from the attributes table of the river, we have a river that is in segments and segments. I want to dissolve those segments. I don't want to have a river with very many segments. I can make them 1. I can dissolve them to 1. So let me open back my dissolve tool. So I can just drag that river and drop it there. And then it will, dissolve field will be populated by all these things here. So I want to dissolve by what? So if I open the attributes table, I want to dissolve by this attribute here called name, so that I have only River Eli and River Taff. I don't have River Eli duplicating 20 times here. I just want my dissolved whatever appearing with only 2. So I just tick by name, and again, so that I don't mess with my original data, let me just add this one as a layer. So I will call this one dissolve, and then this one I can call it underscore what? Underscore river. Yeah, river. And then I save, and then ensure this one is ticked, and then I can click OK and wait for the process of dissolving to complete. You can see it is dissolving here, down here, and then it is done. Dissolving has been done. So let us see how this one looks. So let me untick the river. Let me untick the region of interest. So this has come with its own labeling, its own styling. You can see that. So dissolved river is right here. So if I open the attributes table now, you realize now it has only River Eli and River Taff. It does not have the other segments of that River Eli that was there in this original river here. But I added it as a new layer because I didn't want to mess with the original data, because this is data I will also send to you. Okay? So that is dissolving now. That is the dissolving tool. And that is how it works. So let me add my layers back, and then I can add the dissolved river right here. So if I come here and select the attributes table, if I select one, it will select the whole thing from here to here. It will not select the segments that it was selecting before. to select the whole river. If I select from there again, if I select that one again, it will select the other river, Taff, the whole river. It will not select a segment of the river. So that is dissolving. So what here, I have my attributes table here. When I wanted to dissolve, what if it does not have a similar kind of category with some similar? You realized when we were doing clipping somewhere here, was it here? Let me check. Yeah, this one. You realized there was an area here that had 0, 0, 0. What if you want to kind of dissolve data and you realize you don't have a field with maybe 0, 0, 0, the one you want to unite? Maybe you have to add it yourself. So how would you do that? So let me look for one layer here that maybe has that data of that kind. Let me look at region of interest clip. Let me see how that looked like. This one was only one. So let me look at banks. Banks should have a lot. Okay, so I don't want banks. Let me try something else. That one is only one. Let me try another data that has, let me just select from the catalog. I can select some data like, okay, how did this region of interest 2 look like? Let me see. It is only one. Okay, so from my catalog, I want to add a data that is only, so let me try some natural water. Let me see how that one looks like. Yeah, so there's some natural water there. So if I come to natural water, I open the attributes table. Let me see how that table looks like. I told you guys this table will depend on the source of data, but by default, every layer should have an attribute table. So if you realize you are working with ArGIS, you realize you will open some layers and the attributes table is empty because there is no attribute that has, maybe it has not been filled very well. There was no columns and rows. The data has not been fully completed when it was collected. If you use ODK collect, you will be able to manipulate this data very well, because if you create a questionnaire using Excel, you can simply add these yourself from your questionnaire. Maybe if you don't know how to make questionnaires using Excel for ODK, for Open Data Kit, and how to make these attributes appear. These ones are just filled using a mobile app. For my case, I know about ODK. I don't know about any other. So I was looking for some table. This one did not work out the way I expected. So let me just remove it. So I will work with the one that has some minimal table like this one. Let me just use this one. So what if I don't have something that is common that I want to maybe sort with, to dissolve my Nini wig. So I can come here, right here, and add a new column. So I just click here, and then let me buy you time, because it looks like you want to disappoint me. Okay, you did not disappoint me. So I can add a new column from this. So I can add a field, and then this field I can call it anything. I can call it, maybe I can call it MK. Let me just call it MK. But for the purpose of keeping this relevant, I can add this as maybe, let me just call it primary ID. Or you can call it anything. Ensure it is a type short integer, and the precision here is what you want to to put in these rows here. So like this is way. And then this one has no. And then this one is a polyline and so on. And then this river turf. So what I put in my precision is the field properties. All these are down here. So the name will be the title on the top here. Okay. So yeah, so that is that. You realize the shape here will come as the primary key here with a star somewhere there. Maybe I didn't mention that in the previous videos. It comes with some sign, some kind of a star there, because this is the primary key. It is a polyline. Okay, so I will keep this one as 0. I can put anything. If I don't want to populate my field with a lot of data, I'll just retain 0. Then I will click OK. You realize it adds a layer here, I mean a column here with zeros, right? So now if I want to dissolve now this one, the river clip, I can now come to my dissolve tool. Let me close that. So I can just come to my dissolve tool by just searching it here. And then let me pick my dissolve tool from my toolbox here. So I can add my river clip here, and then I can give it a class. Maybe I can call this one dissolve 2. You can name it anything, by the way. Depends on how you want things to appear. So from now, the field that gets populated here, I can just select primary now. Maybe the data that did not have that attributes table, which will allow you to group. I mean, the attributes table did not have that column that will allow you to group all of them using common attributes. So you can create your own attribute, give it a common feature, and then add it here, and then you can tick it here, and then just say OK, and it will do what you wanted it to do. Like this one, I don't know what will change here. Yeah, you can see what changed in my river. It came with a different attribute here, and if I uncheck this and that, so this river with some dissolve is different from, I guess we used this one to create this one. So you realize now, yeah, it came with its own attributes. So if maybe this first river here had some segments in the attributes table, then the dissolved one right here will not have those segments because you will have grouped them and you will have reduced those segments to just one simple shape called polyline with a primary ID which we assigned as 0. Okay, so that is that. So let me go to the last tool, and that is called the buffer tool. This is the last tool we will cover today. We will be done with this class. So this one took long. Okay, so it is almost what time? It is almost it is 9:15. Okay, but it is fine. So the buffer tool, if you have a river like this one, sometimes you may have soils that are next to the river. Maybe, what are they called, those soils? Maybe deposits, I don't know. Geography is failing me, yes? Yeah, so this soil that is found just around the river alone. So if I want to indicate that soil as a polygon, as a kind of a polygon that is following this line of my river, let me just use the original river here. And then I can use region of interest 1, yeah, so that I can, for the purpose of visualization anyway. So if I want this river to have some kind of a layer here following the river, maybe I'm doing a map on soils, and I want these soils to be different from the soils that will be here. I can do something called buffering. So the buffering tool, I will just come here and type it. You will understand it better. So buffering, when I click enter, it will open the buffering. I will just take this one without explaining anything. So, okay, so this one, buffering will take an input feature, and then it will take something called the distance, the value or the field, and then the feature class, which is just simply what I'm doing, the name of the layer that will come. So if I want to dissolve for example, let me use this river. I'll just put it as my input feature, and then I can call this river underscore buffer. Yeah, that way. So, and then on the units, I can use what? I can use maybe meters, and then let them be maybe 700 meters. That is that a very big buffer? I don't know. Let me see. And then I click OK. So let me see how that buffer will look like. So we are almost there. Good. So this buffer looks very ugly, and I know why. So this is the buffer now. You realize this, I used the river here that had segments. So each segment was buffered. I did not want that because I wanted some kind of a uniform buffering. So I'll just untick that and do buffer with the river that I clipped here. Is this the one I clipped or the one I united? So these are, okay, let me unite these. Let me kind of dissolve. These are, yeah, we have a dissolved river here. So this is the river I will use. The one we dissolved the segments. So I will use this one, the dissolved river. So let me repeat the same process. Buffer, so that I don't have that garbage buffer. It looked very bad, by the way. So let me just pick the buffer tool. I will come and add the dissolved river here. And then meters. Then I used 700 looked very big. Let me use 500 this time. So 500, and then I can call it buffer river. Is it the name? It is not the same name. River starts here, and then buffer follows. Here, buffer starts, and then river follows. I'm sure I will not confuse that. So let me just label it that way, and then I can click OK. Let us see how that one will look like. Okay, yeah. So that buffer is clean. It does not have those segments, each segment buffered. So this is buffering now. So buffering has, if I wanted to indicate that this part of the river has some specific type of soil, or maybe you are doing some kind of, I don't know, some thematic mapping where you want to indicate something around a feature with some specific attributes, you can do that by using this buffering. It is very common. Maybe you have seen something that has been buffered. I'm sure if you are into GIS, you have seen a lot of things that have been buffered. So again, I can also buffer these. I can see now I dissolved only one river here. So there's no problem. That one explains better without even me doing both rivers. This buffer was for only one river. I mean, you can try the next one. It is the same procedure for buffering. Okay. So again, I can also measure. I used 500. So it is 500 from here all the way to here. And these boundaries will form following the path of this river. So this corner here is the corner we have here. So if I pick the measure tool, let me close that. So if I pick the measure tool, where is my measure tool? There is something here, some controls from Zoom that are obstructing me from seeing. So measure is here. So when I click on measure, it will bring something like this. And then using this one, I can just come here, I click, and then I can click on distance, and I want to measure it in meters because I inputted it in meters. And then I can measure from here. I told you this one will be the same as this. So if you see there's a corner here, that means that if you want to measure, ensure that that corner is somewhere. It should be somewhere there. I see the similar corner of the buffered thing. So you can see from my measure here, just look at this box here as I measure. You see it's around 500 meters. So it is not very accurate. That one is accurate now. I did it accurately. So you can see the length is 500 meters. So I can also try measuring from the other side. This one is not accurate. Okay, so it is around 500, yeah. The buffering on this side, I don't know, it didn't come out very well. But you can see it's around 500, though it has an error of 500, it's 590 something. Okay, maybe that is because of the shape of the river. Sometimes the shape, when you want to buffer a shape, it may appear very rugged when you buffer it. But it should give you the idea. And again, I also wanted to introduce this measure tool so that you can know how you can measure things right here in ArcMap. So that is now how you can measure now that buffering and confirm. Okay, so let me just undo that. Edit, undo, and undo. I want to undo. Okay, I undid what I did not want to undo. Okay, so let me just close this one, the measure tool. We just close it so that it stops measuring. Okay, so that is what I wanted us to learn today. We have covered the labeling and the styling, and then we have covered the geoprocessing tasks. We started with clipping, and then we came to intersecting, and then we came to union, we came to dissolve tool, and then we have finished with the buffering tool. So we have looked at everything that was there in the guide as far as the basic vector geoprocessing is concerned. So we will look at reprojecting vector data, editing items in the attributes table. I think we have done part of this, so this one should not be a problem. And then calculating geometrical properties such as area and length. I have done length right now, so that should not be a problem. Digitizing and creating new shape files. This one is very common. This one is very, 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 very common. Perhaps if you have interacted with GIS, this is what you have been doing, digitizing and creating new shape files. And then we have exporting files into KMZ formats and leaving them in Google Earth. So I requested you guys to install Google Earth because there's a format called KMZ format. Because these shape files we have here are in a format called, if you open the catalog, they are .shp because they are shape files. We have to convert them back to a KMZ format so that they can be KMZ format so that you can visualize them in Google Earth. So Google Earth is a free open source app. You can download it from your internet. If you don't have a site you can download from, I can send you a link to my drive. I have Google Earth in my drive, and then you can install it. So Google Earth, we will add, I don't have Google Earth installed yet. I have some minimal space. So I did not install, but I will have installed by that time. So Google Earth, we will add that map there, and then you will start visualizing the map that we created by digitizing and adding those shape files. And then we will cover this part in 2 lectures, working with vector data. And then compositing a map, this one will be practice exercise. I will just give you several exercises on how you can composite maps. Really, it's not really something we will work on in a lecture like this one. So that is what we will cover for today, and that is, I have highlighted what we will cover in the next tutorial. So part of your exercise is I will send these data, and then you will work on buffering, try to buffer, try to clip, try to dissolve, try to intersect, union, and so on and so forth. You realize these tutorials really you must have some good planning. If you have to teach somebody, you must sit down and plan. Like the way I structured these layers, the way I was adding them, you realized buffering came immediately after I did union, so that I can explain that concept of buffering and removing those 4 polygons. So you may not actually follow the same procedure that we used here, but you'll be comfortable working with the data that I will send you. So try doing those 5 geoprocessing tasks. And then in the next class, you can share your screen, you can show me what you did, and then we will proceed to the next part. Unless somebody else has a question,